Next, we have a national champion. It's the Indiana Hoosiers beating Miami. What did we learn that we can apply and hope for Oklahoma? Coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thanks to you, the everydayer. We appreciate y'all so much.
We love you.
So yeah, Indiana, they went through a magical season, finished at 16-0, winning the national championship. Jay, I feel like there's always something to be gleaned from a run like that, or a playoff performance, or really just the whole 12-team bracket. What are some things that stood out to you from the postseason that you think Oklahoma needs to do better or needs to happen for the Sooners to be able to go on a run and win a national title?
Continuity in staff. You got to keep people around for a bit. That's the one thing. One of the big misconceptions around Indiana is, one, everyone talks about how old they are. Well, their starters, yes, on average is 23 years old. I think that's what it was. Miami's about the same age. I think they're like 22 and a half or something. And if you go the full roster, Miami's actually older than Indiana. If you go full roster, I think it's like 21 and a half on average to 20 and a half on average. So it's like a whole age, or like 8 months or something ridiculous. Miami's older overall. That's kind of the point. Big thing, though, that Indiana has, a lot of people don't recognize, is the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator have been with Kurt Signetti since he was at IUP, which is like 5 years ago. Same OC, same defensive and DC, and a lot of his position coaches are basically the same dudes that's been with him since like Elon and JMU. Brent Venables didn't have that on the offensive side. Had it on defense because, remember, he brought Chavis, he brought Bates with him. He knows Brandon Hall. He's known him for a while, brought him over. Valai was the wild card out of everybody that came in there, bringing in Wes Goodwin, who was underneath Brent Venables at Clemson. Nate Driley's kind of the wild card similar to Valai, but he had that continuity and people that know him and know everything and understand how things need to go. That's why the defense so quickly was able to gel. For Lebby, offenses can be a little bit easier, but Lebby came out there and was killing it, but then he left. Seth Luttrell hire was definitely not a good one. And then you bring in Ben Arbuckle, it's going to take him going into his second year in the SEC to figure things out, him and the players. And so that's kind of where you kind of see the difference in it. But Indiana came in here with so much continuity, made it easy. Now, Oklahoma does have a chance this year, in my personal opinion, because you've still got you got all of your staff. You brought in some really good players. Now they need to work together and make it happen. And truth be told, they got a good opportunity to do it in 26.
Yeah, I think that continuity piece is a huge part of that. That's why I've argued like keeping Ben Arbuckle around, keeping John Mateer around. That's huge for this program because you've got to build that continuity out. And you want to hope that you can maintain your offensive coordinator situation for several more years. I don't know what Arbuckle's aspirations are, how quickly he wants to become a head coach, but the longer that you can keep him around and continue to build that offensive continuity, the better. The more people get used to the language, the terminology, the system, the concepts that he wants to run, that trickle-down effect of understanding grows deeper and deeper. That's what we've seen on the defensive side of the ball, from Danny Stutzman being able to pass it down to Kobe and Kip, and Kobe and Kip being able to pass it down to Owen Heineke, and now Kip taking the lead. So having that continuity matters. The thing that really stood out to me, just like from the national championship game, because you saw both quarterbacks kind of struggle in this one, but what helped them so much is that they actually had run games that could pick up 5 yards on a carry or an 8-yard carry. They could run for chunks, and they can lean on those run games when the offense or when the quarterbacks weren't really getting the things that they wanted to get in the passing game. So I think that's the area. I mean, we talked about it quite a bit in the last segment, but Oklahoma has got to figure out the run game, and it can't just be all on John Mateer running the football. They've got to figure out how to be productive with their running backs.
That's going to be the most critical thing is you you've got to get the run game going for Torrey Blaylock as well as Xavier Robinson, and on top of that, just get the good push in just running in general. When we did that, you saw them breaking out for 9-10 yard carries. You start to see them run down here and get some good stuff going, but you got to do that consistently. And I think we can get to that point. It's going to take some work, but I think we can get to that point. The good thing is, again, the continuity on the offensive line is so important, and having guys that have been there together, working together. This will be year 2 for them, right? Like I say, EPL, this will be year 3. And that's where the consistency came in for Indiana. The difference, though, is, too, they've been going through quarterbacks like crazy. Like, Curtis Rourke was the first one. He just came in as a transfer play. Now they brought in Fernando Mendoza. Next year they bring in Josh Hoover. So they're just plugging and playing these quarterbacks, and everybody else around them know the system. Now the quarterbacks just got to go out there and figure it out. Luckily, they're older quarterbacks, so that does help because they get an understanding of college. I don't know if Indiana's ever going to develop a quarterback from the ground up. That, to me, is a big question I'm curious about. Oklahoma's got to prove that, too. That's the one thing I would love for us to do. I would love for Bo Bentley to end up being a quarterback that starts and finishes his career at Oklahoma. Heck, Jet New, that'd be nice if he does it as well. With Neubauer, you don't count because you're transferred too. Yeah. So I'm really curious to see if Bo Bentley can end up being the first one we've done that since what? Man, when was who was the last one?
Was it, Blake Bell?
Landry Jones?
Blake Bell started and finished his career at Oklahoma, but he finished it as a tight end.
Right.
So
would it be
Landry Jones?
It's got to be Landry Jones. I think Landry Jones is the last one to start and finish here because everybody else has transferred out or transferred in, right? You had 3 straight transfers with 2 straight with Baker and Kyler, and
Jalen.
3, and then Hurts. That's 3 straight.
Yeah.
Caleb comes in and bounces. Spencer Rattler comes in and bounces. Yeah, Dylan was a transfer as well, and he ended up playing somewhere else too. Yeah, you haven't done it, Jackson Arnold. Yeah. I'm hoping we get that.
Here's my counterpoint to that. In the last 2 national championship games, the starting quarterbacks for all 4 teams were transfer quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm totally here for that. That makes sense.
I wonder at what point we'll see the recruited, committed, signed, developed, and stayed all at one place reach the national championship game. You look at the top 6 teams over there at the USA Today Sports, including Oklahoma. So you're looking at Texas, recruited, developed, Arch Manning, Ohio State, Julian Sayin, Georgia was he a transfer?
Yes, he played from Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he transferred his freshman year. As soon he got there, and as soon as Saban retired, he bounced. So Julian Sayin is a transfer.
So what did he ever actually go through a spring with them?
He
was he there for a full year?
Yeah.
Okay, I totally missed that. Okay,
yeah,
so transfer.
Yeah. Julian Sayin is.
Okay, but then you got Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. Now Indiana's going to have a transfer. CJ Carr, he was a Notre Dame guy.
I think he was a actual recruit.
Yeah. And then
he's starting quarterback next year, won't he be? Won't he?
Yeah,
he's a freshman. Be. Yeah. So he's theirs.
Now Texas Tech brought in Sorsby from Cincinnati, but A&M's got Marcel Reed. And then Oregon's going to be rolling out Dante Moore again. And then Miami is the number 10 team in USA Today's power rankings, and they're probably going to be getting Darian Mensah. So there's a lot of those top 10 teams, maybe like 6 or 7 of those top 10 teams that will have guys that they recruited, signed, and developed going into next year. But again, they've got to elevate their games if they want to get their teams into the national championship game. So it's going to be fascinating.
It's going to be very fascinating. And it's a very common thing, right? It makes sense to be able to transfer in quarterbacks because you're just looking for a dude that can come in, run your offense, and go. And some of these quarterbacks, if they don't think that they're quote unquote refined enough or ready to go pro, they can go ahead and, make some good money playing and pushing for a national championship.
Well, and
kind of win-win.
There's something to be said for just, hey, you know what? As opposed to spending a bunch of money to sign a kid out of high school, we're going to use that money to sign a kid out of the portal that we know can play, at the collegiate level.
That's true.
There's something to be said for that. But we're hoping that Bo Bentley can break that trend and
Please, Bo.
start and finish at Oklahoma and just go ball out. So, all right. Any other lessons learned from the national championship game? Final one here. I got
go
one.
Ahead. Got
Special
one more.
teams. Special teams doesn't have to win you games, but it cannot kill you. Miami may have won this game, save for a blocked punt that turned into an Indiana touchdown.
Yeah.
3-point margin, and Indiana gets a touchdown on special teams.
Yeah,
on poor execution. It was just poor execution by the Miami punt blockers. Like he didn't even give much of an effort there on his responsibility, on his assignment. And so it's like the smallest margins can be defined by special teams. And as we saw in Oklahoma's loss to Alabama, you can't let special teams hurt you. You got to break even at least.
At least try to. And that's kind of important, but yeah, special teams are critical, and we've seen that on our team. That's the one thing that we've done a very good job of, and I hope that we continue to focus on that. We got Titanium Leg coming back. We need to redeem himself after the playoffs. So yeah, let's make it another good year.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Go check out the Everydayer Club, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club for ad-free audio, for a members-only invite to a chat through an app called Discord, where you can talk with Jay and I, and many more across the Locked On network. Go follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.
It was nice to see Kurt Signetti actually smile.
He actually did smile. I'm surprised.
Happy for him.